So, welcome. My name is Writer Maven. I am the host of the Wrestling Receipts podcast. I cover all things Judgment Day, Dom, Liv, Raquel, Finn, JD, Roxanne, and Port Carlito. Tomorrow, or today, if you're getting this on YouTube, is TripleMania. I'm going to be going over the full card. I'm going to be going over some things regarding Liv, and going to go over my thoughts on the current Judgment Day storyline and how I think the storyline shifted. This is more an impromptu talking because I wanted to get it out, and my scripting was just not working, so I just decided to go live, see if I could just get it out of my head, and hopefully it'll all make sense in the end. So, without further ado, I'm going to start off with Liv Morgan news. Now, according to Mike Johnson of PW Insider Elite, Liv Morgan was slated for a new medical evaluation this week to see how things stood regarding recovering for her separated shoulder. They were expecting her at Raw, and this was regarding an in-ring return. The hope internally is that Liv Morgan will return to the ring at the beginning of 2026 as long as everything is on schedule. Now, I'm going to break this down. First of all, why would Liv fly internationally for a medical evaluation because Raw was in Canada earlier this week? Just why would she fly internationally to Canada for a medical evaluation? Especially when she can be flying to Birmingham, which is where she had the surgery, or be over there in the PC and get evaluated there in Florida. Push comes to shove, maybe she would be going to TKO headquarters or something like that. It does not make sense for her to be flying internationally for a medical evaluation and for her to show up on Raw. If that's the case, then if she's going to be flying internationally, that means she should be flying and be able to join Raw whenever or go internationally when they start touring to Clash in Paris in a couple of weeks. Secondly, this is regarding an in-ring return. In-ring means wrestling. I wasn't expecting her to wrestle this year, to be honest. So, for all the doom and gloom that I saw on the internet, because people always want to take these dirt sheet reports at face value instead of thinking about them critically, in-ring means wrestling. So, I wasn't expecting her to wrestle this year. I was always expecting her to show up earlier, before the end of the year, in some kind of non-wrestling role. She could be Dom's manager. He was for her last year. So that's that little part there too. I wasn't expecting her to wrestle this year. Thirdly, this goes counter to everything that has been said regarding Liv on TV. It was Finn that's been giving out the 6 to 8 months timeline. So now all of a sudden PW Insider and the insiders now say that Finn has been right. Come on now. And then we get the hints. Now, WWE has been notorious for throwing out hints and then not coming out to be true. But again, with this, usually with injuries, it's out of sight, out of mind. So why would you have a report that pretty much backs up what Finn is saying in all of this? So that's another strike against it. So those are three main points. And then again, this is really interesting that they drop this tidbit regarding Liv's return around all this hype for TripleMania, what Dom's going to be doing in TripleMania, and what's going to be happening pretty soon, maybe in the Clash of Paris or any of these latest WWE events. So it makes no sense. It makes sense for them to maybe do like a cloak and dagger misdirection. They drop this knowledge that Liv is still not going to be expected for 6 to 8 months. Then nobody's expecting her, and then she'll pop up. Now, with that dropping today, I'm almost expecting Liv to show up at TripleMania tomorrow. Seriously. Because, again, why would you drop that information? It would just be better for them to stay quiet. And why all of a sudden is PW Insider getting this information all of a sudden now? How come this hasn't crossed Sean Ross Sapp's desk here? So, and remember, these are the same people that got the Seth situation all wrong. So, again, take all of these dirt sheets, even Sean Ross Sapp, with a grain of salt. The dirt sheets can add some information and things what could be happening going behind the scenes and what could be coming up. But even then, you still have to take it with a grain of salt. Wrestling storylines and wrestling progression can change on a dime. I keep telling people that. It's just like how the whole they were saying about Judgment Day versus the Wyatt Six at WrestleMania. That might have been the plan, or maybe that was an idea, but obviously it didn't happen. So you can't claim that that was the plan when it didn't happen because it didn't happen. So take all the dirt sheets with a grain of salt. And like I said, with all the way with the way this report started, I'm almost expecting Liv to show up at TripleMania because it would tickle me pink if she did because there was a lot of Liv fans and a lot of other fans. Oh, Liv wouldn't show up for TripleMania. But have you seen, since I'm going to be going into TripleMania in a few minutes, have you seen how they keep adding sections of seating for TripleMania? It's going to be huge. And I doubt they will do this all for El Grande Americano, even though I love them. Especially Ludwig's presentation of them. So I doubt they would do all this seating and all this buzz just for somebody not other than Dominik Mysterio to win. Now, let us get into TripleMania. I'm going to run down the card, give my opinions, give my predictions. Some of these luchadors I don't know, and I'm just going to be guessing off the top of my head. But I am at least familiar with a good chunk of them. So starting off, they're going to be having a Copa Bardahl match, if I'm pronouncing that right. And in that match, participants enter the match at timed intervals similar to a Royal Rumble match. Eliminations occur by pinfall. Last remaining competitor wins the Copa Bardahl trophy. So that sounds like a nice battle royal with pinfalls. So I'm not sure who would win that. I'm not sure if that would be WWE or AAA. If that trophy means like future title shot, I can almost see if like a Mega Championship. I can almost see that being a AAA luchador, especially if Dom is the winner in his match. Then you can have that trophy set up a future title shot. I'm not sure, but that's that match. And then we have a Latin American Championship match between El Messias and versus El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. I love Dr. Wagner Jr.'s voice, so I'm picking him. Seriously, go listen to his WWE Espanol little interview that he had, Dr. Wagner. His voice is amazing. I could listen to that all day, so I'm picking him. The Reina's Championship is in a triple threat match between Flammer, who is the champion, versus Fabi Apache and Natalya. I am rooting for Natalya. I think she would do fine with it. I think she almost deserves it because this is all she's been putting in the work. She's running a dungeon. I want that accomplishment for her, and I kind of want her and Fabi Apache to feud some more. So I want Natalya to win that. And then the AAA Tag Team Championship Street Fight between Angel Umberto, which is from Legado del Fantasma, versus Pagano and Psycho Clown. I'm not sure if they're going to flip the titles back to Psycho Clown and Pagano. Berto and Angel won it a few months ago. That's a toss up. I'm not sure who will win that. I'm almost leaning to Pagano and Psycho Clown to win that. Unless they just want all WWE to win, then they might have Angel Ember to win it. But I could almost say Pagano Psycho Clown could probably win that, but that's a toss up in the air. And now we got the 6-man or 6-person tag team match between Nino Hamburgosa, if I say that right, Mr. Iguana and Lola Vice versus Finn Bálor, JD McDonough, and Raquel Rodriguez with Roxanne Perez in their corner. Now, this could be a really interesting match. Because first, Mr. Iguana is still talking shit about Dominik. He called Dominik Puma, which is the boss. So he called him a Pesa Puma boss, which is really interesting to say. Again, he's leaning in, since Dom is leaning into being El Jefe and King of the Luchadors and Daddy Dom. It's really interesting how people are kind of to him now with that kind of authority. And Jefe is kind of really steeped in some authority, at least that wording wise. So it's just really interesting to hear Mr. Iguana use that in reference to Dom, even though he put Peso Puma in front of it. I mean, Jefe, that's a heavy and loaded term. It's a term that Dom called Ray a couple of years back. So it's just like I said, it's just really interesting. So for this triple threat match, we can have something really interesting here. Since this is Judgment Day, you can do something that impacts the Judgment Day storyline. You could either have Finn, JD, and Raquel lose due to like a Finn fuck up. This ties into why I think we might be shifting back to the original storyline. Within, but you could do that, or you could do it where maybe Roxanne saves the day because Finn fucks up, and then she saves the day and they win. Almost wanting Judgment Day to lose here because it doesn't really hurt them. They're in AAA. They're not running. They're not gonna lose their titles. And then if they want to run it where maybe somebody gets a title shot because of it, then you could run it from this particular match. But I kind of want them to lose. Why do I want them to lose? Because that sets the tone for what's been going on with Judgment Day because Dom has been winning. So you could go either or with that. You could either have Nino and Mr. Guanoloto Vice win, or you could just have they win just because Roxanne saved the day. But I'm hoping Judgment Day loses, to be honest. Mega Championship Fatal 4-Way between El Hijo de Vikingo versus Dragon Lee versus Dominik and El Grande Americano. There was a report that I saw that they said they might throw it, Grande Americano, but I'm like, no. First of all, he does get a reaction, and it's a nice positive reaction in AAA. However, the ones who was selling out your arenas was Dom. The ones that making them add more seating is Dom. And to me, if they don't give Dom this championship, then it doesn't make sense for it. Then it doesn't. Why would you do all this? Why would you do all this just for Dom to lose? Now I know Lucha Libre in Mexico is a little bit different here in the United States, but again, if you want to put eyeballs on AAA, Dom's the one you want to do it for. And if you want to run it later on with somebody else, you can. But right now, I think it's Dom. I think it's Dom's time. It makes sense with his storyline coming on right now. He's King of the Luchadors, and you can't really be calling yourself King of the Luchadors if you don't have a title like that, or at least a Mega Championship from AAA. So right now, they're having a toss up with El Grande and Dom, but I'm leaning Dom 80-20. You have to allow for the 20% for bullshit, but I put my bets on Dom. How he wins, El Grande Americano Army. They could either do the Finger Point of Doom. I don't think they'll do that, but I don't think that'll fly too well in AAA actually. But they can have the El Grande Americano Army. Maybe they have the army come out looking like they're helping El Grande, but then it ends up being maybe more like an accidentally on purpose thing where Dom wins. And this is something that helps protect Vikingo, and Vikingo can come up to NXT, and then you have Dragon Lee there that can benefit from that rub as well. Also, since Rey Mysterio, I believe, is inducting Conan, Rey is going to be there, so it would be nice for Dom to rub that title in Ray's face. So, yeah. I would have it where Dom is rubbing that championship in Ray's face. And then you can build off of that to a potential match with Ray and Dom over that championship in the future. Like I said, if he's gonna be king of the luchadors, he kind of needs that title. Double champ, he's king of the luchadors, he's reigning over AAA. Hey, and then if Liv wants to return, she can return as his queen right here. It's kind of stuff like Judgment Day is already down there. You have Liv return here. You can have the El Grande American Army help Dom. Heck, you can even have Ilya show up for here. And maybe Ilya shows up later. He could show up like at Clash in Paris or something like that. But just this all this setup just seems like this will be in line for Dom to get a really big push. And like I said, he needs that title. So I'm um putting my bets with Dom. Um said I think we can get some really good Judgment Day advancement if Judgment Day loses and Dom wins because that continues the progression. So let's go on to the Judgment Day storyline, shall we? On Monday, I talked about the big shift that I sensed with the Judgment Day storyline, where it seems like Finn is going back to where he gets kicked out. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this. Um, how Finn is acting. First of all, Finn is not did not put up that much of a fight regarding Dom going for the Megas title. Yeah, I know it's not a WWE title. Yeah, not really him because it's another title and all that. But it's still a title. It makes Dom a double champ, and pretty much that kind of puts Dom over Finn leadership wise, or at least that role if you're a double champ. Like you got Dom with Intercontinental and Mega Championship, and you want to listen to Finn with his Tag Team Championship. Like I would expect Finn to bust more of a fit. Now, and this is the guy that was really annoyed with Dom getting championship opportunities. Yeah, maybe he was upset that he's going to be relegated to being pushed to the side like Damien was. However, something if he was that worried about it, then this should still carry over with Dom. For him to kind of is just really really odd. I would expect I would expect Finn to be pushing more of a fit about it. Like, hey, why are you going for the Megas title? Or at least to address it. Like he didn't really address it. Like I'd be expecting Finn to be like, why are you going for the Megas championship? Why wasn't I consulted or we consulted? Like that. Um, like that, and he didn't. And again, this is just something where since he likes titles and things like that, now everything is now about the Judgment Day instead of just like I guess this is probably why I couldn't really script this out because it's just kind of all over the place. But you see, Finn has shifted back to a Judgment Day first feeling. Yeah, he's still beefing with Liv, and that's why he had the belt bat and everything this past Monday. Right now, he's focusing on Judgment Day, and it's real easy to focus on Judgment, gold about Judgment Day, but for a while it was about Finn and why he wanted to take things away from Finn. Because notice that he hasn't really even been eyeballing Dom's Intercontinental Championship right now. You see how that shifted? It's just it's just a shift. I'm seeing this shift, and I would not be surprised if Finn gets kicked because, like last week on last Monday, we didn't have the grinning demonic Finn. We had Roxanne act on her own without Finn's prompt. And when AJ Styles showed up to harass Dom, it was JD and Finn stepping in between AJ. Was it like A was getting goaded into something AJ by Finn, like was when he was trying to get to Dom to he was active so he could get himself medically cleared. You see how that changed? Like week we had Finn to get Dom to do stuff so he could get medically cleared, but now he's standing up to AJ. That's the shift. And maybe this rate lays back into Liv. Maybe something has changed where want to do something in the absence of Liv, and they just decided to run the original storyline, which was Finn being dumped. Because now we get to Monday. Yeah, he's still talking about Liv and things like that, but Dom was one to manipulate Finn into thinking what he's doing is for the Judgment Day. Like I'm using Dom's like using El Grande to help me the Mega Championship, and then Finn goes and runs with it like this is bringing gold to the Judgment Day. So we have Dom manipulating Finn to where, and then Dom does the thing where he made it where it looked like it was Finn's idea. Like you could bring gold to the Judgment Day, and then just Dom just kind of signs on it. So you have that where Dom is just manipulating Finn. Also, I mentioned it that I got a kick on the background antics of Raquel, Roxanne, and JD with El Grande. The background when Finn and Dom were talking, because notice how where Finn was saying rest of the Judgment Day didn't like El Grande, but if you look at the background, you see them kind of around with each other. And again, that's that split of been doing, thinking, okay, Jay isn't liking it, but you see that in the background, they were kind of up back there, slapping up El Grande's hand away. El Grande had this really awesome way of playing darts with, it was just hilarious. I go back and watch that segment because it was just so good to me on how Dom was acting and how the Judgment Day was acting in the background. So to me, all this plus the El Grande Americana Army. Notice how Dom pretty much recruited and talked to all these people under Finn's nose. Because Dom was like, he was trying to recruit, and Finn was saying no new members until he got Roxanne, and then nobody wanted to challenge him on that. Notice how Dom was able to recruit the El Grande Americana Army. We still think the fourth Grande Americana Quattro is Tyler Bate. We haven't gotten any confirmation on that, so probably we might see that. But Dom was able to recruit all these El Grande Americanos, starting with Chad Gable, and he was doing that under Finn's nose. Because, again, you would think Finn would be like, okay, how come he's not questioning enough? You fed him a lot of bullshit, and then he just took it because he still thinks that Dom is still in this fool role. But I really think Dom is at this point, he's shedding the fool role. He's shedding the role where he does things accidentally on purpose. Right now, everything is pretty much intentional. Like removing his boot, he's unzipping his boot so he can slip out of it so he can attack AJ. His for Luchador's mask, his a lot of cheating out in the open and publicly. Like it with Eddie, but it's a more, like I said, it's a different type of Eddie, and he's making it his own. So he's shedding the full persona, and like I said, if he's going to be King of the Luchadors, Daddy Dom, El Jefe, can't keep being in this full role much longer. So it's going to flip, and if he's going to be King of the Luchadors, he can't really get kicked out. And that's why I'm saying with Liv, might have just decided to go like, hey, he's going to be King of Luchadors. You can spin it to where he becomes the leader, like he should have. Like Dom should have become the leader of Judgment Day anyway, because that's just how it goes within how everything went with Judgment Day. So if he's King of the Luchadors, he's going to need to lead something. He can lead Judgment Day. He can lead his El Grande America Army. He can have his court. And then, like, Liv finally shows back up. You split Dom and Liv off of that. But, like I said, you can't run Dom getting kicked out by his own group if he's King of the Luchadors. Because that would harm the King of the Luchadors that they're trying to build. And with King of the Luchadors, this is somebody that is really aggressive and smart and heelish, and it's not like how Dom was presented before. So you can't even say like you didn't start off King as the Luchador. They didn't start off Dom's character as King of the Luchadors as a joke. They're taking it very seriously, and seriously to how I'm going to be a powerhouse and running over people, but he's going to be very serious about it. So you can't have Dom get kicked out when he's about to become King of the Luchadors, El Jefe, Clyde to Liv's body. So that's why I'm taking Finn gets kicked. Now, the way I would do it is how Judgment Day lose. Finn gets the pin because he's pinned Balor. Then Monday, if Dom has used all the El Grande Americano army, I would just have all the El Grande Americanos posted up in the Judgment Day clubhouse, like all of them. Dos, tres, and cuatro. Cinco if they have another one. Everybody's in that clubhouse. And Judgment Day is celebrating, but Finn is feeling put off because he's pushed it aside because he lost, and everybody is celebrating Dom's win. And you can start with the alienation of Finn, and maybe he starts getting feeling desperate. Maybe he tries to cling on to Roxanne. Then at the last possible minute, where he thinks Roxanne is there for him, she turns on him, and then he gets booted. Now, my group chat had a really interesting take on how to do this, where we would say how we would do like Finn kicked out. um I would have done, or what I would personally prefer, because I like drama, I like messy, and please do not take this as Liv and Dom breaking up in this scenario. This is just me being messy, and I like drama. But you can run it. Dom and Judgment Day, if Finn maybe argues for Dom. Maybe he starts arguing that Dom could get kicked out because everything has gone to his head. You got all these El Grandes running around. Maybe he's recruited Ilya and wants Dom to get kicked out. But he and Raquel side with Dom. And then Finn is left with Roxanne. And Finn thinks it's going to be Roxanne against maybe JD, Raquel, and Dom. And then what I would do for maximum drama, I would have Dom do something to Roxanne for the first time. I would have Dom smile at her. Give Roxanne that validation, and I would play this into Roxanne obsession storyline, because that could come up later. But just have Dom smile at Roxanne, and Roxanne low blows Finn's out, because that finally he's finally given Roxanne the attention that she wants. Because right now he's pretty much been ignoring her, pretty much. But this would be an intentional smile for Roxanne, and Roxanne turns on Finn because of it. Because I would like that personally. I would like it if Roxanne would turn on Finn for Dom. Because if you run it anyway, because he was seeming like he was using Roxanne in the first place, you could just have it where Roxanne is like, "Hey, I'm being used. Dom gave me the attention I finally wanted." Finn. But like I said, I would do that for major drama, and not to split up Liv and Dom. This is just Dom being a very manipulative and sneaky, get into that darker part of his persona, because I know it's there. Like, allow him to get into those darker areas, darker of his character before the inevitable face turn. You can do that for a little bit, and we get to see you get to see a different aspect of Dom if he does that. Yeah. Player TripleMania is tomorrow. I do hope to live stream that if everything goes well. I'll be on TikTok and on YouTube. If not, if I can't get on TikTok because TikTok wants to be a bitch sometimes, will be on YouTube. So I'll on YouTube and Twitch. I'll be on there, and then I might just have to do the link there, and then maybe figure out how to do um I stream from TikTok, maybe from one of my other devices or stuff like that.